I was sitting in my office and kind of thinking about, what can I do more? Pace always says like, hey, your W-2 job, you get your income, right? But you'll never be rich. You'll never be wealthy, right? You hit a limit of amount of money you can make, and that's it, right? You always have a ceiling.
You're a pharmacist. I guess you have a TC that helps managing with a lot of this paperwork for your borrowers.
To be honest, no. Because I do most of the review of the documents anyway. In my pharmaceutical background, I'm actually a quality director. So I review paperwork before the drug goes out to the market, right? So I'm used to reviewing paperwork, and I've got a pretty good eye for errors, right? All my employees call me Eagle Eyes too.
I hear Pace say closed mouths don't eat. So I need to ask about, I still get shy about asking, hey, how am I going to get compensated for this? What makes you comfortable asking somebody that you haven't done a deal with before to get compensated when you're making a connection?
To me, I'm super upfront.
Hello and welcome to the Dream Start Own podcast. I'm your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we have my inspiration for being a connector, Mr. Colin Yeap.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I remember talking to you one day, you telling me you were making, was it 10Ks easily, multiple tens of Ks easily a month, connecting people. And I was like, dude, I got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work. It doesn't just fall from the sky, right?
Right.
It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of time that you got to kind of put into it before you actually get there, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Where are you located at, sir? Colin?
Well, I'm located in New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We're having the fall season right now, so it's starting at least. So the leaves are turning, and all the people are coming up. Look at the foliage. So
okay,
we're busy up here.
Beautiful autumns out there. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I was talking to April Elias. She's in Delaware, I believe. Kind of close,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're mainly focused on today?
So right now, I've got a couple of businesses that we are focused on. I have a connecting business, capital raising business, with my partner Kyle Huber. And Kyle and I are actively connecting capital raising for people that are, needing the funds for their fix and flip projects, for their, buy and holds, to bring in partnerships, and any type of real estate deal, really. We also do, EMD funding, double closes. We just did a couple not too long ago. And basically, that is our capital raising portion of our business. And then I'm also doing laundromats, running some laundromats with Benjamin Huang and our Boston Home Service teams. So essentially, we're raising, we raise money, we acquire laundromats, and bring on partners. And in BHS or Boston Home Service, it's Benjamin, myself, and Kyle as well, and a couple others as we build our teams together. And so far, we've acquired two laundromats. So I'm actively operating those as the COO, and managing those businesses as well. So definitely keeping busy between the capital raising piece, the two laundromats. We have a landscaping company as well, all in Massachusetts. Well, one of the laundromats is in New Hampshire. And then I've got my W-2 job.
Wow, and the W-2, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. So definitely busy.
Entrepreneur life. So one thing there, part of the podcast of the Dream Start Own, you're the portion of being the owner of the property of the businesses, not just being an employee, being able to have landscape. Because I'm pretty sure you're not out there cutting yards and looking for people to cut yards.
No,
you're not out there.
Nobody would hire me.
You're not out there washing laundry or running machines or changing detergent.
No. Actually, we have a pretty good team that does the landscaping. We have a good team that does the laundromat. We have a manager in each store. and are good employees. So they hold the fort down. So
Awesome.
keep things going.
I love Benjamin Huang's his page. He's sitting there and he's like, "We mean business." It's like I love that his page of it
He does mean business.
for
He's
sure.
all about it. So and we're
Yeah,
glad
I
to
was
have
there
him.
when I heard about the deal he got in Boston. That's an amazing story. I got to get him on the podcast so we can have him
You
share that
should.
story.
You should. Yeah,
Um,
we actually right now we're in the middle of two additional laundromats that we're trying to acquire.
two more, nice, in
Two
the same
more.
areas.
One in Massachusetts and another one out west.
Okay,
Yeah.
and laundromats. How'd you end up getting into that? Is it because of Benjamin? Is it because
Yeah.
Cody
Yeah. So
Sanchez?
if no, a funny story. I actually Benjamin actually started when he joined Sub2 back in I think 2023. He was trying to, he acquired this laundromat end of 2023 or early 2024, and I kind of jumped in there as a capital partner. So I like, hey, this sounds interesting. Let me hop on. It's in my local market, and I hopped on. I became a capital partner for the first laundromat, and then that's how I kind of all started with Benjamin. He's definitely a visionary, a full-on visionary, and he's already got everything planned out. And obviously, it changes. Sometimes it changes, right, as you go. But yeah, I mean, we're on the right path. We're rocking and rolling. Um, and right now, we just started renovation for both of the laundromats that we own, and we're actively in the middle of it right now.
Wow. So with Benjamin, did you know him before Sub Two?
No, I did not. Actually, all my partners I met through Sub2 and Owners Club. And yeah, and all our capital partners, a majority of our capital partners are from Sub2, Gator, Owners Club. So that's pretty fun to have, for the community. Even our first laundromat, it was all primarily Sub2 folks that invested in our first laundromat and then our second one too.
For those of you listening that aren't aware of what Sub Two is, it's a community that Pace Morbius put together that we paid a fee to be in, and you join the community and meet with people, network, get out there, talk to people, share your vision.
Mhm.
Like I'm pretty sure before you started getting into the laundry services, that's not something that was on your vision or your path or your guide to go, huh?
Not at all. I actually started off as a lender, believe it or not. In out of Gator, I joined Gator first, and I joined Sub2 6 months later, or 4 months later. But yeah, that's how I kind of started because I knew nothing about laundromats. I knew nothing about real estate because I'm actually in pharmaceuticals. So I've been doing pharmaceutical pretty much all my life, really. I'm still there. But that's how I started. I started lending. And slowly I got to know people. And as I was lending, I ran out of money, ran out of money to lend. And then I'm like, hey, I'm still meeting a ton of people. And that's how I started my connecting business because I was getting deals, I was meeting people with money, and then we were just like, trying to figure out how do we make the connection, how do you raise capital properly, how do we make sure we secure people correctly and have the integrity to continue and also help people along the way.
Okay. When you mean connecting, for those that don't know, is not you're not just introducing a buyer to a borrower. You are actually being a bigger part of the transaction, right? You don't just say, "Hey, meet this person. You guys want to do something together," and then just walk away.
Yeah, no, that is more of like a referral. If you wanted to walk away, and you just gotta make it clear, like, hey, I'm just referring it to you, right? And maybe you take a small referral fee. But as a connector, a capital raiser, you're actually meeting people, you're actually bringing people together, and then helping folks. In my connecting business with Kyle, what we do is we underwrite the deal. We provide some of the documentation. We help the transaction move along, right? We help work through with title. all the information that they need. I help review the documents with the lenders. I help them to kind of answer any questions. And then, if they need remediation, that's where we come in and help with some remediation as well. So definitely, it's not just a quick high and buy and leave. And we're actually in the deal for the duration of the land, right? So when we're capital raising, we always stay from the start to the end, um, and stay all the way through until the lender gets their money paid back.
That's a very good way to differentiate the two: referral or connector. Referral is
Correct.
just basically handing them off. Connector being a bigger part of it, seeing that it goes through, and that since you've already done a lot of these deals or some of these deals, you're able to kind of know what to look for and help the person walk through it if it's their first deal or not.
That is absolutely correct. And we've along the way built a kind of a process, as you may, right? Some deals are great, some deals are not so great, and we learn with the lessons, right? We also learn from other people when they're sharing their stories. We actually learn about what their mistakes are that have been, and then we try to implement the remediation or the corrective actions into our plan, our underwriting, our process, so that we try to make sure we check off all the boxes to keep our lenders as secure as possible. And that checklist is always changing as we go. So
Yeah, learning from others is big, so you don't make that mistake, and being able to see other people that have already gone through it is fantastic. And when you're doing your connecting, I think you mentioned Gator earlier. So for those that don't know, Gator is also a smaller part of a community as well. It's different than Sub2, but it's through Pace Morby as well. And that's more of kind of like partnering up with people to borrow money, lend money this way. Not really a lender, but to partner up with people to get money together to make deals.
that is correct.
And with the connecting, you stay in a big portion of it. You're able to give people a sense of calm and security because you've gone through them and you're there walking them instead of just referring them and walking away.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people that are new to lending, right? They don't really know what they don't know, right? And having go through the checklist with them, showing them the deal breakdown, the numbers. We walk through all the underwriting that we've done with them to make sure that they understand. Hey, this is the numbers. This is why you're protected. This is what happens when if it doesn't go right. What are your securities then? How are you protected? And then we walk through primary exit strategy, backup exit strategy. What if they aren't able to sell? What are the next steps? If it's a typical fix and flip, for example, right? If the market turns and they can't sell, your backup would be to maybe refi or rent it out. So is it going to cash flow long term? If it comes down to that, is there a possibility that you might be able to hold it, if you are not able to sell or refi, right? So a couple of kind of check boxes that we go through is working through all those details to make sure that, you have a couple of exits just to be safe, right? That are there, available, and make sense.
Great information there. With the checklist and your documents when you first started, is this something that you got from somebody? Did you get it from the community? Did you create it yourself?
Yeah, I did not get it from a community. I actually created it myself. I learned from someone who was teaching me how to connect. It was Kalisha Carter. If folks that haven't met Kalisha, yeah, I actually did my first deal with her. Not first deal, but first deal in the community with her. And she was teaching me how to, coaching me how to connect. And then I basically, was meeting a lot of people back then, sometimes up to 10, 11 people a day, just connecting with people, and that's a lot of time, right? And what we would do is I would ask them about their lending experiences, and then I would ask them about what they would look out for. A few lenders, big time lenders, were telling me what are the pitfalls, what to look out for, how do you underwrite, a backup strategy, what are the pros and cons, and I would just be doing my homework, writing everything down, and then putting a checklist for myself to lend. So basically, I was not in that connecting mode at that time. I was basically writing notes so that I would know how to lend safely for my own funds, right? And then when I ran out of funds, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to connect. But here's what I learned through my lending journey. on the things that I need to make sure I have in place. And I would still be able to, and I still do the same thing every time I talk to somebody that has landed and they had come across some issues, right? I would take those lessons and put it into our checklist and just make sure that we have as much as possible, right? You can't really do 100% foolproof, like a bulletproof checklist, but maybe 85-90%.
So you're going from your notes to your checklist. That's something that I think a lot of people don't do. I know I don't do it. I do some work and I'll go through it, and then if I don't do it for a while, I'll go back and then I'm trying to remember all the steps that I had to do. So it's really good that you're mentioning that, to take notes and then create checklists from that. So you're making your job easier and
Mm-hmm.
making it more predictable for when you're
Yeah.
doing your work. So it's going to be easier for you the next time around.
100%. And that, what we did was, with this checklist, we do put it into our process, into our system, that we have to do it every single time. So every deal that we are doing, whether it's a repeat borrower, whether it's a repeat deal that we feel really secure with this borrower, we still go through the checklist and make sure everything is still in place. Make sure that we still have our 6 documents and securities. Make sure we still do our due diligence. Make sure that the LLCs are still in good standing. All of that fun stuff, right? Because like, for example, I mentioned that the LLC is still in good standing. We have a repeat borrower that we've been doing deals over and over again, and all of a sudden, tax year, and they're late, and now their LLC is not in good standing anymore, right? Because they haven't filed their taxes, so they had to go in. And when we were closing, we were like, "Hey, the LLC is not in good standing," so we had to kind of escalate that, and they had to get that resolved before we closed. So even though we do it, we repeat, we don't deviate from our checklist, just to have a confidence that we've done everything right, and we haven't skipped any steps or took any shortcuts, right? Just because we're so used to it. And that's when errors happen, is when you get complacent and take shortcuts, right? And then you miss things, right? And then you get screwed.
Complacency is a killer.
100%. Yeah.
That's great. You mentioned that about verifying that their LLC is in good standing. It's not, I think 90% of people that aren't doing this daily will think of that. What is another odd thing that you think that most people, most connectors don't think about that you have on your checklist?
I think like insurances, a lot of people think that, are they properly insured, right? Are they, depending on the state? Is it a state that frequently sees like hurricanes, earthquakes, or whatnot, right? Natural disasters, are they properly covered for the insurance, right? Do they have the right coverage for flood insurance against natural disasters? A lot of insurance companies, they don't cover certain things, right? So you want to make sure that they're actually covered. They actually have a policy that covers flood in a, like when we're investing in Tampa, for example, or Clearwater, Florida, right? You want to make sure that they have that insurance when you go do a deal, right? Especially when you jump into the deal in October timeframe, right? Where that mid-November, December, they're gonna be hit with hurricane season, right? So we wanna be mindful of that too, right? So again, a couple of things that we try to keep a lookout for: insurance, LLCs. We have, we do our background and credit checks for every borrower. That's what we do as well. And then we make sure everybody's secured with a lender's title policy. A lot of times people forget about that. But we do secure our lenders with a promissory note, mortgage deed of trust, lender's title policy, JV agreement. And I'll tell you why the JV agreement is so important as well. Builders risk insurance, right? And personal guarantee, right? But the JV is quite important as well, especially as a connector. So every deal that we do, we have a JV agreement solely to protect the connectors as well, right? Because as a JV partner in the deal, you're essentially doing a joint venture with the borrowers and the lenders. So you're not breaking any kind of laws. If you list out all your responsibilities as a connector, as a JV partner. So in our JV agreement, we will list out what our roles and responsibilities are as a partner in the deal, right? And we stay in the deal for the duration of the deal. So uh, it clearly lays out everything that we are in the deal. We're going to be there for the duration of the deal. Here's why we are supporting the deal. Here's our roles and responsibilities to the lenders, to the borrowers. I kind of lay that out in the JV agreement.
Fascinating information, fascinating details there that you're providing. Hey, you're watching this, give us a like. Mr. Colin Yeap here is dropping some nuggets of information for if you're going to be connected with somebody, if you're going to become a connector, if you're borrowing money, if you're lending out money, make sure you're taking notes on this. This is going to help you big time to save, to protect your assets, to protect your investments.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and for borrowers, right? We're always trying to find good borrowers. Lenders always want to be secure with good borrowers, right? And it's so important. Like we don't do deals with crappy borrowers, right? We don't want to deal with crappy borrowers. What I mean by crappy borrowers are if you don't communicate well, and if you don't communicate well and you don't put in the energy and you don't have integrity, then you should not really be a borrower. In my 2 cents, right? But nobody wants to lend you money if you are you don't communicate, right? I think that's one of the major downsides. People forget that when, and sometimes communication can be really good up front, and then once you get in the deal, it dies down. So it's super important to get references. And when I mean references, right? So I don't lend to anybody that's new in borrowing because I don't get any references, right? But what I do is we get some referrals of previous lenders that have lent to this borrower. We call them, we get them on a recorded Zoom, right? And really ask them questions about how, or recorded calls, like how are you involved in this deal? Which deal are you involved in? How was the communication? How was the payout? Was he late? Was he or she late? That kind of deal. And basically tie the lender to the HUDs so that it can't, because the referrals will come from the borrower. So the referrals could be their grandma, right? Or their friend or their brother or their sister. And you don't know who the referrals are, but the best way to do it is tie it to the HUDs, right? Then you'll know that they are truly the lenders in those deals. And that's what we kind of do. Verify.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you got money and properties going along this way. Thank you for that, man. This is such detailed information. You're gonna be helping somebody out, and again, give us a like. And where can people find you, Mr. Colin?
Yeah, people can find me on social media. I have a Instagram handle, Colin Yeap, first name, last name, at Colin Yeap, and my Facebook as well. You can reach me on Messenger, Colin Yeap. Yeah, those are the two.
Fantastic. So going back to the connecting portion, I've kind of become a connector that way. I'm still not nearly as hashed out as to what you've gone through, and I'm taking notes. I'm gonna put these into my systems and processes. Because I tend to have a good memory of remembering people that, hey, I need this, I need that. Like recently with Tigger, she's been
Yep.
doing commodities. She's been selling like oil and gas, and somebody out the blue asked me, "Is
Yeah.
anybody selling this?" I was like, "Yeah." So
That's interesting.
we got really close to doing a deal that would have paid out well, but the buyer they were kind of slow. But just being able to connect that way, I hear Pay say closed mouths don't eat. So I need to ask about, I still get shy about asking, hey, how am I going to get compensated for this? What makes you comfortable asking somebody that you haven't done a deal with before to get compensated when you're making a connection?
To me, I'm super upfront, right? Lay out what you cost, lay out what your fees are, and basically just say my fees are let's say 5 points. My fees are 5 points, right? And if they don't like it, then you say here's why my fees are 5 points. I'm not here only to refer you to somebody, but I am spending hours doing due diligence. I am spending hours underwriting. I'm spending hours interviewing people, getting all the documents. Then I'm going to touch base with the lenders. So I'm going to walk the lenders through the documents so that you don't have to do it. I'm going to walk them through title so that you don't have to do it. Right? I'm going to show them your due diligence packet so that you don't have to do it. I'm going to create a pitch deck so that you don't have to do it. So I'm taking all this away from the borrower so that they can go, do what they're, meant to do, right? And we will handle the communication with the lenders. We will handle the communication and the review of the documents at close, at the initial close, and at the final close, so that we take that away, that work away from the borrowers so that they can focus, right? And that's why the borrowers pay us um, to do that, because then the lenders also trust that we have done the due diligence and the numbers does make sense, right? And a lot of the borrowers actually would pay for that because that frees them up in terms of time. They don't have to go out and raise more capital, try to meet more people to raise more money. If they work with connectors that are already spending time connecting with people, right? And for example, like every connection that I make, I put it on a CRM, right? And that CRM tells me basically I input their name, their number, the area, the market, what they want, what they need. And then if they're a lender, I tag them as a lender. If they're a buyer, I tag them as a buyer. If they're a wholesaler, I tag them as a wholesaler. If they're an agent, I tag them as an agent. If they're a hard money lender, I tag them as a hard money lender, right? And then I put everything in there in terms of their lending criteria, right? And I tag them as a lending criteria. And then now I'm meeting 3 to 5 people a day for the last 2.5 years. My list is like 400, 500 people, right? So then when someone needs money, I say, okay, who here is my lender? I filter by the lender, everything pops up. And then I email blast it out, and or I reach out to individual lenders that I know are actively lending. And that's why it's so powerful, because the borrowers don't have time to sit down with 3 to 5 people a day. So I'm actually saving them time, right, in their day, meeting individual people to raise money by having a list of people that I already connected with that has money. And that's why it's so important not to just meet people as a connector and not do anything about it. As Pace always says, right? Be intentional, right? And build a list so that you can get to it quickly, because speed is everything.
Oh yeah, speed is everything. Be intentional. Great nuggets of information there. So much to unpack. It's so good that everything you're saying. I'm taking notes here, saving the borrowers and let them focus on the big things. If they're fixing flippers or if they're getting the businesses the way Benjamin does, different people that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I assume you're a pharmacist, W2. I guess you have a TC that helps managing with a lot of this paperwork for your borrowers connections.
To be honest, no. Because I do most of the review of the documents anyway. I in my pharmaceutical background, I'm actually a quality director. So I review, paperwork before the drug goes out to the market. Right. So I'm used to reviewing paperwork, and I've got a pretty good, eye for errors. Right. And my staff calls me, or my employees calls me eagle eyes too. Um, and basically, even though if I get a TC, sometimes I've done deals with multiple TCs as well. But I ended up catching more errors than they do. Right. So at the end of the day, I just figured, if I'm gonna have to review it anyway, because I want to make sure it's good for my lenders, right? That I'm gonna TC the deal myself. And truly, in a lending situation, you don't really need in my opinion, you don't really need a TC if you know what you're looking for. And also, it's just coordinating with title, because at the end of the day, the TC doesn't really draft the document. It's all the title attorneys that draft the documents. So all I'm really doing is reviewing the attorney's documents and making sure all the numbers line up, making sure the names make sense, making sure the addresses are correct, making sure the lending terms are good. And what I normally do is I do the JV agreement first, get all the terms listed in the JV agreement, then send it to the attorneys and then compare the two when they come back and make sure that it's good.
Great information there. Do you have a favorite side of being on, the borrower side or the lending side?
I actually like both, especially when we have really good borrowers. We have a really, really good borrower that we work with. And he is one of, he's so fast and quick, and he's super communicative, right? And we don't have to worry about anything with this guy. He's always communicating, he's fast, and then the lender just continues to recycle and recycle and recycle, right? Like I've got a lender that specifically works with him, and they just keep recycling and keep going and going. And I think in the last year, they've done maybe like 6-7 deals already together. And we're doing the same thing. He would bring the deal to me. I would underwrite it. I would go through my process. The lender would do the same thing. Yes, I trust the borrower, but I would still want to make sure everything is good.
Incredible. So earlier you said you don't know what you don't know. So as a borrower, you're saying good communication. What is good communication for you in your point of view?
What I think good communication to me is when things go wrong, that you need to communicate when things go wrong. Because a lot of experience that I've seen, a lot of borrowers that I've seen, they communicate well when things are good. When things starts falling apart, that's when something's slow all of a sudden. Like, hey, why is he not talking to us? And maybe he's trying to find out information and doesn't want to share it just yet until he has all the details. But sometimes that can take a long time to figure out, right? And then it goes on and goes on, and people are wondering what happened to the communication, what happened to the good communication. And that is so important. I think even though you have no news and you communicate that there's no news, no updates, that's better than staying silent, right? So, for example, if you come, it's real estate, right? You come across issues, things happen, sure. But it's the, hey guys, something happened. I don't have an update for you yet. We're still trying to figure it out. And then a week later, hey guys, I'm still working on it. Just so you know, there's no updates just yet, but I'll let you know. Instead of going on weeks and weeks without an update. And that can be quite scary to a lender, especially a new lender, right? So it's important as a borrower, if you're going to be borrowing money from people, right, make sure you communicate when things are going south, even if it's a simple, there's no updates here, but I'll let you know when I find out more. That's crucial, right? Because we had a few good lenders in my personal borrowers. I mean, that I've been borrowing for the last 2 years. Everything's going well. Everything's going well. Communication's good. And then the hurricane hit, and then all their portfolio went underwater, right? Well, some are literally underwater, and they got stuck, right? And then they stopped communicating, which is tough. Or they communicate, but very sporadically because they're trying to figure it out. But as a lender, you have funds stuck in the deal, right? So if you don't communicate to me, I don't know what's happening. And if I cannot reach you, then I start panicking, right? So it's so important that if you are borrowing money, that you maintain a communication, even though it's hard. And if you're swamped, get a VA to do it, right? There's no excuses because the lenders put their hard-earned money into your hands. So you gotta have that respect and have that integrity.
Communication is key.
Communication is key.
This is one of those places you don't want to be out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Great information there. Like most entrepreneurs, I don't sleep enough. So the hours that I do sleep need to be of better quality. The 8 Sleep Pod, it has been a game changer for me. Perfect temperature all night, less snoring, and I actually wake up refreshed. And my wife does as well, which is a huge plus. Happy wife, happy life. You can try it through my affiliate link below. Now we go back to the episode. So you got that going on. What made you go from your pharmaceutical business to start being an entrepreneur with lending?
Well, I'm still in my pharmaceutical, but what ended up happening was I was kind of sitting in my office, and kind of thinking about, what can I do more? Pace always says like, hey, your W-2 job, you get your income, right? But you'll never be rich. You'll never be wealthy, right? You hit a limit of amount of money you can make, and that's it, right? You always have a ceiling if you have a W-2 job, right? Unless you get promoted, a lot. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I make extra income? How do I get past that ceiling? My wife doesn't work, right? And I got 2 kids, and I was like, how do I make sure that how do I create generational wealth? And that's how I kind of looked into real estate, and right after COVID, and kind of figure out, hey, what can we do? Right. And that's where kind of Gator came about, and Sub2 and whatnot. And I jumped right in it, not knowing anything about real estate, trying to figure it out, and then just, hey, maybe I'll do some lending for now and try to figure out from there, right? Because I wasn't a wholesaler, I wasn't gonna call anybody. I'm not good with cold calling. I tried it once. I got on the daily dial with Caroline Kane. uh, yeah, she made me. Yeah, and then Don Walker, sorry, and Don made me kind of made me dial a number and make a call, and then I was like, not for me. But anyway, that kind of helped me, know what I want, and then that's how I started learning, and then start reading, watching a lot of YouTube videos, and just kind of absorbing all the material, and then learning as I go. Really,
Awesome.
yeah,
As you mentioned, this job, W-2. What does job stand for? Just over broke.
yep,
You
that's
have
it.
limits. You have the max you can get paid during that. And being an entrepreneur, being in real estate, you have almost no limits. As long as you stay consistent and you're doing your due diligence, you can make so much more. Earlier, you mentioned you stopped lending because you ran out of money. I assume you didn't run out of money because you lost it. I assume you ran out of money because you lent it all.
Correct. Yeah, I did. I have lost some money in some deals, but those are expensive lessons that I take and learn, right? And then also adapt it into my process, so I don't make stupid mistakes again, right? Expensive mistakes, right? But I'm still keeping. It doesn't mean that mistakes happen and you stop doing what you're doing, right? Mistakes happen for a reason, and that's where you learn, right? You learn from your mistakes. That's how you grow, and then you keep learn from other people's mistakes, and then you grow, right? So don't stop, don't give up. A lot of people struggle when they hit a roadblock, right, or a loss, and they say, hey, that's it, I'm done, and they don't continue, right? But it is mandatory, to make mistakes, right? To go through failures, to go through difficult times. If not, it wouldn't be so simple, right? I mean, it would be so simple, right? I mean, anybody could do it if that's the case. But it's all part of growth. It's a necessity, really.
Well said. Expensive education there.
Hmm.
Is there one that really sticks to you? That one loss that you had? That's the most memorable?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I have one loss that was pretty memorable. I lent to a deal in Ohio. It wasn't a large amount, but it was enough to hurt a little bit. But basically, what happened was the borrower, there was a tornado that came by, and ripped off the backside of the house after it was done, and then the borrower had no money left to finish the project, and he essentially gave up on the project, and I was in second position at that time, and basically he claimed bankruptcy, right? So I couldn't do any, personal guarantee wouldn't work, right? In the second position, that happened, and then the bank just took the property. Yeah.
Wow. I assume that's probably where you started adding the insurance portion of your paperwork.
Well, it's funny because the insurance, yes, part of it is as well, because the insurance didn't cover the natural disasters. Number one, right? But also at the same time, uh, it they took a really really long time to assess what the issue was, and by that time the like how much it was, and the policy and whatnot, and the borrower ran out of money to pay the holding cost for the hard money, right? yeah, so definitely painful. But we ended up, letting it go and moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, acts of nature are hard to, you can't predict them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the risk that sometimes, some people take, right? The first risk is, this borrower was fairly new to us. We didn't have that many references, but he had experience on his belt. But again, you can't really foresee these type of things to go. So I guess the lesson here is if you're going to loan, you're loan to own, as they say, right? I could have come in and said, hey, I'm going to pay the hard money. I'm going to get somebody to fix the property and sell it and take over the property, right? But part of the issue was I was in the deal with another lender, another partner, and he did not want to put any more money into it, right? So you had to kind of, hey, do I put up all the money now to take over the property? Do I finish it up with the rehab costs and pay the holding costs and pay everything else, right? And so that was kind of one of the things that we probably should have agreed on with the partner. Hey, if something went wrong, are we going to fix the situation together, right? And those are the few important things that we need to make sure that we iron out, especially if you're going in a deal with another lender. What are our responsibilities if something does go wrong, right? Do we make a decision now that we will help as much as possible, right? But the other lender that I was with said, no, I'm not going to throw in any more money. It is what it is. And so it was either me bringing everything or we losing the property. And I was not at a financial place where I could lend more money out of, basically, as well.
Understood.
So
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but it's a learning experience, and it's not like you got scammed out of it. It was just natural disaster, and still things that were not of that were out of the norm.
Hmm.
With all this that you're doing, are you use CRM you mentioned earlier? Is there a specific one that you like? Is there one you have an affiliate link with?
Yeah, I'm using Monday right now.
Okay.
I don't have an affiliate link with Monday, but I do use Monday that I think is sufficient for a connector. It does all the things that you need. You don't need something super, expensive like Go High Level, for example. You don't need something that complicated for a lending business. For our laundromats and our landscaping company, where we are generating, more leads, call centers and whatnot. That's when we are using Go High Level. Yeah, but for connecting wise, I think even an Excel sheet is fine if you can keep up, depending on your number and your number of parallel deals that you're doing. Once we got up to the 50, 60, 70 numbers, it was kind of difficult to track anymore manually. So that's when we invested in like a CRM to help us to notify us when things are coming due, help us to send out emails quickly, helps us to also market to other lenders when there's a deal, like email campaigns and whatnot.
Monday. Yeah, I've heard the Gator Group using that. I haven't tried it out yet, but that's a
Yeah.
good one there. Thank you for that. With your documents that you have, your checklists, do you offer those to people that are getting into connecting, or does somebody have to do a deal with you to be able to get access to that documents for them to have it instead of trying to start from scratch?
Yeah, so that's basically what we do as well. We whoever that comes in and lends with us as a lender or a connector that brings us a deal, we end up doing the deal, or a borrower to that matter. When they do a deal, they have access to our drives, and then they will be able to pull the documents, pull the checklists when they want to really and see it and go through it. A few lenders have actually asked me to kind of walk them through the checklist and how to do certain items and do certain things. So that's how it's not just a simple checklist that you can check off. It says, check Secretary of State on LLC status, right? What does that mean? How do you do it, right? Where do you go, right? How do you, what do you search for, right? Or pull the property card. What does that mean? right? And so what we do is we pull the property card of the property they were lending to. Then we once we pull the property card, we compare the property card information with what is on the purchase and sales agreement, right? Making sure the seller is a real seller, right? And you're not getting scammed by somebody else, right? So you're comparing to make sure that what's going on here, right? If the seller is not on the property card, and maybe it's a wholesale, sure, but it'll be a contract, a wholesale contract, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A lot of these checklists don't have you understand what it means, but somebody else looking at it from the outside, they're gonna be like, "What does half of this mean?"
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
I tried like people have asked me for the contracts and I mean for the checklist, and I've given a few people the checklist. But what ends up happening is they reach back out to me and ask me to walk them through. So I get a lot of calls, and try to walk them through how to do it, right? Which is time consuming as well. So right now, what we do is we give it to our lenders, we give it to the connectors that bring us deals, and then obviously the borrowers that want to see it as well.
if somebody wants to lend money with you, is there a minimum that you guys look for?
No, there's no minimum. It's basically based on the deal. If the deal has a high amount, sometimes we go, hey, we need 2 or 3 lenders. Well, obviously we don't take like $500 or like $1,000 or whatever, right? But we do try to aim for like between 10 to 50, something like that, the sweet spot, depending on the deal size. We've done a deal where we wanted to bring few lenders on there that hasn't lent before and give them opportunity to lend less to get into a deal. We've done that once or twice before too. It gets very messy too if you have a lot of JV partners, right? And the payoff will be messy. The notary will be messy um, if there are too many partners. So try to avoid that.
Yeah, I did one where we partnered up. We joined an LLC together, and it takes a lot more work to get into it. So,
Exactly.
so try to
And then don't forget, when they have to make decisions as an LLC, then everybody got to vote,
yeah.
right? And it becomes just challenging, time consuming, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth it to the connector or the borrower at the end trying to put it all together, even though the deal makes sense. Having all these little trying to pick up pennies to put dollars together sometimes
Yeah, and
takes
you
too
make
long.
like $2,000 for this, a ton of work that you need to put in for 6 months, right? And or 8 months, and it's not worth the time, really.
Understood. Yeah. So, but if you got $10,000 sitting there in the bank, you have a 401k, people can lend from there.
Yeah,
Um,
people can definitely learn from 401k. We have a lot of our borrowers actually learn from 401k because that's money just sitting. And we can definitely do more with the 401ks. A lot of the 401k lenders actually like to set and forget. And it's easier because they'd like to recycle as well.
yeah, I have my
So
self-directed IRA. I just transferred it over. I have to finish the process of doing the LLC checkbook account. Once I
checkbook
get
control.
that done, then I'll have it ready to go and be reaching out to you to get those funds deployed.
Awesome. That's great news. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let us know when you're ready.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be worth it just to get your paperwork. No, but I mean that's the good thing about the community and the way Pace teaches us, and you're a go giver that way. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and sharing this information. For
Of
the
course.
people listening to be connectors that want to lend money, that want to borrow, you're getting so much information here on how to do it correctly, how to protect yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And feel free to reach out if there's any questions. I mean, I am busy. I may take a couple of days to get back, but I do end up, getting back if you do reach out. You might have to reach out twice, uh, but I'll definitely help where I can.
Okay. Besides lenders, what else do you need?
So we need good borrowers. Those people that want to borrow money, sure. But we do a ton of due diligence, obviously, and we want to make sure we get good borrowers. So we're looking for We're looking for lenders. We're looking for good borrowers in that space for sure. anybody that are open to also doing long-term lending, right? Some people, we have a few people that says, I want to use my 401k. I don't want to think about it every year or every 6 months. Just put me on something for 3 to 5 years, right? And then we have plenty of those as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then so we have your Facebook and your Instagram. Do you have a website?
I do. Vetted Investments, VETD investments.com.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to invest in our laundromat business, our upcoming ones, we're also raising capital for that soon. But you can hit me up on in my Instagram or Facebook if you are interested. Or you can go to I am Benjamin Huang, HUANG .com, and you can submit a deal there if you have a business that you are selling, or laundromat that you know of that you are selling, or is for sale, or if you want to invest in one of our laundromats, you can sign up there too.
Yeah, you guys did a fractional, right? The other
Yep,
the get fully funded, and you're
we
about to
did.
do another one. Is that true? Or
We are
okay,
with the next two. We are going to put that through fractional when it's ready, as well. But we did get that other one that we just did in fractional. We did get that one overfunded, and so that's always good, right? We ended up with, I think, 33 capital partners, and raised a bunch of cash to close. Saved the lady, the seller, from losing her home.
oh,
Yeah, and she was like 83 years old.
oh wow,
It's 83 or 73. I think 73. Um, yeah. So that was
fantastic.
good story there.
Fractional, for those that don't know, is a website where people will put up projects and you can go and invest and be part of the deal. You'll be part of the LLC, I believe, the
Mhm.
JV agreement. You're protected. Take a look at it. I'm not a financial advisor for entertainment purposes. Check with your CPAs on returns and what you can be protected with. And is there any other type of employee that you're looking for, Colin?
Employee is in for the business.
Yeah, for yourself and any part of your businesses.
Not at this moment. We're actually looking for someone that actually not an employer, but potentially a partner. Really, if anybody is interested, we are looking for someone that has strong like marketing experience, sales and marketing. As the laundromats grow, right, we are looking to bring on someone that has really strong marketing for commercial clients. We're trying to bring in more commercial clients that way. So we need someone that has marketing experience and sales, try to help us boost our commercial sector or commercial clients for our laundromats, because those are the ones that are going to also boost your revenues tremendously.
Okay. I guess that's like a Cintas, like a uniform company, something like that. Is
Yeah,
that the
you can
type
do
of
like
people?
any like uniform places, like even like police stations, fire
Mm.
stations, schools. Our laundromat in Nashua, New Hampshire, we're serving 3 to 4 churches, right? One synagogue for like bar mitzvah, and then we have like you know school uniforms that come through for band uniforms. On the high school band uniforms that come through. We got a commercial client that comes through every summer for camping. They have a school camp, kids camp, right? Their bed sheets and stuff like that, so they bring it to us. Yeah,
Yeah, I
all
never
different
thought of
types.
any of those things.
Then you have commercial clients like um, chiropractors, right? Doctors, dentists. They have those towel sheets, whatever.
Right.
Massage parlors, right? And uh, activity centers, event planning for weddings. They got tablecloths,
Yeah, it
right?
makes sense. I
Hotels.
don't even think about many
Yeah,
of those
yeah.
places.
And now we're reaching out to a lot of our sub two friends in the area too, because they have a bunch of Airbnbs.
Mm.
Right? We're actually in contact with a person where she owns a ton of Airbnbs in the area, and her cleaners can't keep up with cleaning every day, like washing all the sheets in the apartments and coming back and turning around a day. So the cleaners have to bring all the sheets home to wash it at their own house, right? So we're trying to offer that service. Hey, let us go pick it up. We'll bring it back the next day with our pickup and drop off service.
Yeah, great idea there. Another
Yeah.
form of income of what you're already doing, just adding more to it. And then you said you're buying businesses, you're doing the laundry service. What type of other businesses are you looking for?
Primarily just laundromats right now.
Okay.
Yeah, laundromats and car washes, but Pacey's doing car washes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, primarily laundromats and car washes.
Okay. Fantastic, man. This has been great. For people that are in a W-2 the way you are and that we're looking to get into another source of income, what advice would you have for them to start?
I would just say, jump into a community, jump into, one of, it doesn't have to be this community, but get into the right rooms, get into the right groups, go to meetups, go to like Squad Up Summit, go to like all the events that, could open doors for you because you never know who you would meet. Right. I met so many people when I went to a few events and we started doing deals together and they're not even in the community. Right. But that just tells you that you in order to do something, you have to go do the uncomfortable things, right? Go meet people. I was not a type of person that would go hang out in big meeting rooms, but I forced myself to do it. I just made myself uncomfortable. Go do that uncomfortable thing. Go be the 1%, right? And basically, be consistent, and don't give up, right? Keep pushing.
Get uncomfortable, be consistent, be in the rooms. Definitely great advice there. I mean, look at, you got an example right here. Mr. Colin was lending and now he's owning laundry services and telling you all the different ways to add income to your laundry service. Why? Because he was in rooms, people doing that, and that turned on something that brought information. As he mentioned, you don't know what you don't know, but being in those rooms, you're going to learn things that you didn't
Yeah,
know and
meet the right
easily
people.
get you to scale.
Yeah, 100%.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Colin. Hey, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Follow Colin and give you some information. You're ready to land. If you're a good borrower that you've done deals and you show that you can show your HUDs, your closing statements that you've made profit on your deals and you need more funding, Colin Yeap, he can get you there. I'll get there soon and we'll be working together.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you
Edgar.
very much. Hey, we'll see you on the next episode. Later, guys.
Later.
And gals. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.